Yo, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Davon. Come back to you with another AEW Dynamite review. As things was on all cylinders, it was a great show. Initially, is the payoff from everything initially had transferred with Forbidden Door, leading up to everything to the card build up towards All In. Tonight's AEW Dynamite really was a home stretch when it came to everything initially had initially happened. I had such a great time when it came to the initial card. We had the quarterfinals when it came to the AEW Owen Hart Foundational Tournament. Things were looking good as we had Brian Danielson taking on Pac. We also ended up having Jeff Jarrett taking on the wild card. Initially ended up being Hangman Adam Page. And also, we ended up having women's quarterfinals as we had Chris Statlander taking on Willow Nightingale. Also concluding to their feud, maybe something else maybe under the sun when it comes to the lovely Easter egg, but that match really was a banger. We also had an AEW International Championship as well. Ospreay took on Daniel Garcia with a cliffhanger of things initially had transpired at the end of that initial match. We also had Britt Baker initially on the mic, as well as we had an appearance by Mercedes Monet. We double things initially continue to be transpired as we hit push and steamrolling towards All In. But let's go ahead and get into this initial show of everything initially had transpired. We started off red hot when it came to Brian Danielson taking on Pac. This match was a whole lot of back and forth. I enjoyed everything about this match. I get this match initially a 4 out of 5 stars, but these boys put on a clinic. Initially, Brian Danielson initially came off with the victory and picked up the win when it came to everything initially had happened in this match. This match left nothing unturned. When it came to Pac, you know Pac can go. And initially, I enjoy everything that Pac continued to be when it comes to his professionalism, as well as his arsenal moves, and so many great intakes when it comes to everything about no other than Pac. When it comes to talking about Brian Danielson, there's you could be left speechless when it comes to Brian Danielson. He does his thing, he does his job, and he always keeps us entertained each and every single week when it comes to Brian Danielson. His technical style, of course, we're leading towards the end of his road of a full time career. But initially, my hot pick to pick is going to be Brian Danielson picking up the initial victory and being that number one contender spot for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'd like to know from you guys' point of view how you feeling about the initial situation when it comes to Brian Danielson picking up the victory over Pac, and do you see him initially getting to the finals to face Hangman Adam Page? Initially, I don't want to see Adam Page versus Swerve Part 3, but it looked like it may get close to that. But my hot pick is Brian Danielson just in general. Then we got ready for the next initial thing that she broke down as things continue to be in a good. Then we had a Willow Nightingale initially hitting off with a lovely promo and initially talking about her initial challenger for this following coming up quarterfinal. She took on Chris Statlander. I enjoyed it. The promo was decent for what it was. I give it a 3 out of 5, and it was decent for what it was when it came to initial promo. After the initial promo, they did a highlight reel of the ladder match for the TNT Championship with everybody hitting all their notable spots, including Mark Briscoe and all of them. And initially, everything was great, including Tateska still being great, exactly of doing this thing. I thought he was to be the one to win a TNT Championship, but initially, the Bowden boy Jack Perry ended up becoming victorious of initially becoming the TNT champion, and it was a great thing of seeing Jack Perry be unto his own. But of course, we know what is leading of initially having all the elite with all the initial championships, and we shall see how things continue to transpire back and forth with how things continue to go under the sun. But then after initially they had that beautiful highlight package, Mark Briscoe ended up coming out initially declaring himself as being the first member, initially being online when it comes to Team AEW. Then of course he was blindsided by Jack Perry initially starting to attack, and things broke out as initially Kyle O'Reilly ended up coming down along with Okada and as well as the Young Bucks, and things initially broke into a melee. But things had concluded initially all the faces was looking down when it came to everything, but initially the heels were initially picking up the pieces when it came to nearly everything that initially had happened. within this actual segment. The segment was pretty decent. I'll give it a 3 out of 5, but I enjoyed that initial segment when it came to Mark Briscoe initially being the first one to step up. But we know Swerve, and also we got the Motor City Machine Guns initially coming in, as well as Swerve initially vouched to have them being involved in this initial match. But we shall see how things initially continue to be pushed in the near future. Then we got to the next initial segment, which was Tony Storm, who initially had an interview basically hyping up Mariah May for her initial match against Ricardo Ishida, who's someone you don't want to sleep on when it comes to initial great singles action. But initially, Tony Storm did get the job done when it comes to prep talking, told her tits up and watch out for the shoe. You already know how it goes when it comes to her. I believe it's tits up, chin up, and watch out for the shoe. But initially, I enjoyed that little segment. Tony Storm continued to do a phenomenal, great job, and I look forward to seeing more of what Tony Storm continue to push for us in the near future. Then we get ready for the next initial match. Is going to be Chris Statlander taking on Willow Nightingale. This match was decent, hard hitting. These ladies put on a great showcase. I enjoyed everything about what these ladies were putting on. This following in this match, a lot of transitional moves back and forth. Give this match a 3.8 out of 5. It was close to a 4, but these ladies really put on a really great showcase. But eventually, Chris Statlander came up short, venting her frustrations as well. But Willow Nightingale advances as initially is this her chance to initially pick up the victory and get a second time to come back to back winner of the Owen Hart. It'd be kind of interesting to see how things may transpire as we have so many players on the field still with everything coming along, including Mariah May, who initially I'm looking for her to initially be the one to win it all. But we shall see how things progress. And I shall see how you guys feel about it as well. Post your comments down below on this initial match and let me know what you guys are feeling. Then we got ready for the next initial segment. Mercedes Monet is having her celebration for her initial double championship. She was interrupted by Britt Baker, who came directly out, challenged her to a match at Wembley Stadium at All In. Of course, they went back and forth with their mouthpiece. Initially, Britt Baker wanted the challenge. Mercedes Monet told her who's she to initially come jump in the line. She need to get back in the line and basically let her know what's up with that. But initially, it turned into a melee, into a shoving, and things initially broke down for there. As I look forward to seeing how things may transpire, but I don't think Britt Baker should be the one initially just come directly back with a return and win a championship. I know Tony's trying to make up for last year, but right now Mercedes just got on this championship run. Let her keep the title for a little bit for the TBS championship and see how things continue to be meshed together. But I'm going to be intrigued of seeing how this chemistry actually works together. It'd be kind of interesting from my own personal opinion. But this initial segment was great. I enjoyed it. It was poised. It kept me highly invested, and I look forward to seeing more of how things continue to transpire with this initial feud. Then we switch to high gear of initially another backstage segment of the Don Callis family having a moment with Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay notifies Don Callis he no longer needs his service and he'd like to leave the family. And of course, Don Callis lets him walk off. Kyle Fletcher had a little moment of trying to figure out what was going on. But initially, Don Callis let him know he's going to initially need the Don Callis family for a favor. So we shall see how this intriguing story continue to progress. And we know Don Callis, you can't trust him. But we shall see how this unfolds when it comes to the initial storyline of the Don Callis family and Will Ospreay leading up to All In, because we know it's going to be a smash mouth. And I'm probably going to end up seeing Takeshita versus Will Ospreay for the initial international championship. It's going to be a great match that I look forward to seeing. But we shall see how things initially transpire. Then we got ready for the next initial match. It's a trios action of Shibata, Hook, and Samoa Joe taking on Cage of Agony along with Brian Cage, or the Gates of Agony, whatever you want to call their initial stable name. But Jericho was on the commentary as he relieved Taz of duty because he wanted to be a closer insight of seeing how things was going to transpire in the initial match. This match was a smash mouth, a lot of back and forth. These boys put on a clinic, putting everybody initially in a headlock, and then everything broke down to initial submission. And it was great when it came to this initial downfall. Big Bill and them initially jumped on the gun, initially got involved as Learning Tree tried to put the beat down to Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata, but things initially broke down as Brian Keefe was able to get the payback on Shibata's arm, and initially things continued to progress as Big Bill took out Samoa Joe with a steel chair, and things continued to be progress as Jericho hit Hook with his brass knuckles, initially knocking him out and celebrating as the heels were standing victorious when after the post match of his great decent trios match. But the Gates of Agony is feel like they still trying to figure themselves out, hitting another loss. I'm kind of disappointed of seeing how that initial situation continue to transpire. Hopefully things get better in the long run. But let me know what you guys feel about the initial situation. I feel like it's just looking lackluster right now with the Gates of Agony. But when it comes to this feud with the Jericho Learning Tree, they need to drop it. 100%. I feel like it's not getting over. The fans are not into the situation. It's becoming a burning of the tree. Whatever you want to take it, how you want to take it. I just feel like I'm just not interested. But when it comes to Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook, it's okay. It's like very mid from my own personal opinion. It could be better, but we shall see how things continue to be pushed and progress. But I look forward to seeing how things in this league continue to be pushed with these young men in the long run. But then we get ready for the next initial match, which was going to be the men's quarterfinal of Adam Page versus Jeff Jarrett. We had a no bullshit, straight to the point. Adam Page came back, new entrance, new persona, straight smash mouth, playing no games, and being straightforward about what he was feeling. He initially got the victory over Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett left like a true victor, a true legend in his business, and I enjoyed everything when it came to how things initially had transpired. But Adam Page came out victory by hitting that lovely dead eye and initially putting Jeff Jarrett to sleep. But it's the post match where the fans were giving a standing ovation to Jeff Jarrett after he initially into the back, which really it's on social media. Highly recommend for you guys to go check it out and see how things initially transpire when it comes to the last Outlaw. Then we got to the main event of the night. It was Will Ospreay taking on Daniel Garcia. A lot of back and forth, a lot of technical wrestling. Daniel Garcia was hitting off his high spots. We had MJF there on the ringside as well, hyping up Daniel Garcia. This match was everything you initially can get when it comes to a high profile technical match. I look forward to seeing these guys go at it again, but this left nothing unturned when it came to true professional wrestling, as this was true fantasy booking to the first degree. Initially, Daniel Garcia came up short, ended up losing the match, and he tried to keep his head held high. Will Ospreay showed respect to him, left the initial ring. It's the aftermath, the post match, how things initially just went kind of sour and kind of soft as MJF initially got in the initial ring, showed his true colors, initially put the attack and beat down on Daniel Garcia, and things were looking kind of like, what the hell? We figured that was going to happen. MJF fits it like a true glove when it comes to being the true scumbag he is. He's my scumbag. I enjoy everything about MJF. He's a heel. He's like an anti-heel. So technically, he can't do no wrong. The fans are still going to cheer him when it comes to MJF. But initially, we saw some stuff that he initially put out, his frustrations on how things have been transpiring just in general. He initially put out Avalanche Tombstone Power Driver directly on Daniel Garcia, bust him open, and luckily, had first time we seen Daniel Garcia being stretchered out after initial heinous beatdown in the long run. This is leading up to MJF and Will Ospreay having some kind of feud. Maybe this is maybe the initial match as they planted the seeds once again this week when it came to Dynamite. But in overall, Dynamite was great. It continued to keep the momentum going when it came to the following show. I highly recommend for you guys to see how things may transpire next week as we get the answer from MJF is going to speak on Collision as to why he did it, as well as we're going to see how things may transpire as Dan Garcia may make a return. But initially, we're going to probably end up having Danny Magic, um, end up wanting to get into a brawl with him, with actually Matt Menard. Wrong person I initially brought up. Matt Menard's basically vented his frustration. He wants to probably get into a fight with MJF, and we shall see how things initially transpire. But let me know what you guys felt about AEW Dynamite. Was it a good show? Was it a bad show? Post your comments down below. Let me know how you guys are feeling. I appreciate you guys coming through as we are on the road to 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's a big accolade, a great achievement. Gratitude to you guys. Continue to support my channel as I continue to find my algorithm as well as find my niche to become a better content creators to entertain you guys and become great just in general. Until the next episode, I'll catch you guys later. I'm out. Peace.